So God is capable of keeping what we would perceive as evil, darkness, or negativity separate from His Spirit, and He's created us in His own image, and He wants us to understand things on the level that He understands them. In other words, that there's consequences to our actions. If we do things the wrong way, we are going to understand what it means for someone in our position, certainly, to experience pain and suffering as a result of our actions. Okay, God's not going to interfere with free will, people. There's a lot of disgusting pestilence going on in this world, all around us. But if God interfered with the suicide bomber that took out a bunch of Americans over here in Iraq, then all of a sudden the human race doesn't exist anymore. We're not who we are anymore. Don't you understand that? We don't have free will anymore if he interferes with that. Don't you understand? We are puppets. We are robots. Okay? You you see some horrible shit going on in the world? Okay? You think that God doesn't see it too? Do you think that you could have arranged this in a better way? Do you think that you could have created a race to fellowship with for eternity with their own decision-making process, their entire own free will to approach you in love, should they choose to? Do you think that you could have done this in a better way? I mean, God can keep evil separate from His Spirit and use it for good to produce fruit. Okay, but we don't have that capability because we're infants. Okay, first of all, we're in flesh, and we have a God-given, driven desire to reproduce. So when a male sees a woman, he automatically has a desire for her. I mean, even if he's married, how's that fair? You know what I'm saying? Well, this isn't really about fair. This is a learning process, people. Okay? We sin, but we weep. We're not capable of living a perfect, holy life. Okay? God is different. And God was capable of living a perfect, holy life, sin-free, and He demonstrated that to us. Okay? And His whole purpose for doing that was to give us an avenue for separating this from our spirits when we are born into the spirit, when we leave this body, when we die. Okay? We are the same exact people as we are right now when we pass on, only with a much height. And I believe that some veils are going to be lifted when we pass from this body. Okay, but I believe everything that we've learned here, every experience that we've had here during our time on this planet, we take with us. Okay, and if you are walking with Jesus Christ, you have Jesus Christ in your heart. You know that He came to demonstrate who He was. You know that He loves you with everything that He is. That He created you for the purpose of fellowshipping with Him in heaven for eternity. That He put you in the situation for the opportunity to experience wonderful and great things with Him for eternity. Okay? That's the whole reason for us being here. But if we, okay, reject God, God doesn't mix with that. We have free will, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? If we choose to deny God and say that's not real, I prefer to believe that we were brought here through evolution. Okay, hey, you know what? I don't have a problem with evolution. I don't have a problem with microevolution by any stretch of the imagination. There's evidence of a microevolution all around us. I have a problem with macroevolution. In other words, I have a problem with a dog evolving into a cat, because there's no physical evidence of those kind of transitions in the fossil record. Okay, but who's to say? How, what vehicles did God use? Excuse me. What vehicles did God use? I'm starting to get a sore throat. I think I'm getting something. What vehicles did God use to bring us to the point where we are now, so that we could understand what we see now around us, for the purpose of growing closer to God in spirit, so we'll understand God better when we move on? And don't you understand, this is all a progression towards God, okay? But if we reject that idea flat out and entirely, that's our own free will, ladies and gentlemen. And we are literally judging ourselves when we do that, aren't we? We're saying, I don't want to progress for eternity with you because I don't believe in you. Okay? How is God going to mix with that? How? Again, there we got to go back to the freedom of choice, the free will, not freedom of choice. Excuse me. God. No, there's an error. Okay, freedom of will. Okay, can't be taken from us. We wouldn't be the same people. We'd be robots. Okay, if when we leave here and we go to stand in front of the presence of God, we have any kind of a different view of God. And as a matter of fact, when God reveals himself to us and we're standing in his presence, you're going to realize, the first thing you're going to realize immediately is that God sees right through you and knows every thought that's ever crossed your mind since the time that you were born, and you're going to know how much he loved you and how much he tried for you. It's all going to come available to you. All this knowledge is going to be flooded onto you when you're standing in the presence of God. And if you're running from him now, folks, you're going to run from him twice as fast. Under those circumstances, you're judging yourself. And you're trying to say, here's this evil God that's judging people. It don't work that way, people. It's a lie. It's a lie, and it just really upsets me. So now you know. Now you know. I approach extraterrestrial life and human life in any of God's creations in love, respect, and holiness. I don't have hate towards any of God's creations. And I don't put any of God's creations above my spirit, because I connect direct with the Lord, and nobody can take that from me. No extraterrestrial has the right to come down here and scare the life out of me and violate my body, unless they want to mix with the Spirit of God in doing this, unless they want to do this in the presence of the Spirit of God, because I walk with God, ladies and gentlemen. You want to, talk to me about them scaring me now? Oh, my goodness. What are they going to do when this time is past? Who's going to be scaring who? Don't you understand who's got my back? Who has your back? Okay, well, let's move on from this.